In a quiet village, a poor mother named Mama Rose struggles to survive while her 3 children, Daniel, Sarah, and Michael, live a rich and glamorous life in the city. They have forgotten the woman who suffered to raise them, but life is about to teach them a painful lesson. This is a story of abandonment, regret, and the power of a mother's love that never dies. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment. As she lifted the bowl onto her head, her neighbor, Mama Nkichi, passed by carrying firewood. "Mama Rose," she called, "you are heading to the market again under this hot sun." Mama Rose smiled gently. "If I don't go, who will feed me?" Mama Nkichi clicked her tongue. "Those children of yours, Daniel, Sarah, and Michael, big city people now. They don't send money." Mama Rose's smile weakened, but she kept it on her face. "They are busy," she said softly. "City life is not easy." In her heart, something tightened. Not anger, just deep pain. But she would never speak badly about her children. A mother's heart protects even when it is breaking. The village market was noisy and full of life. Women shouted prices, children ran around, and men played games under trees. Mama Rose found a small space and set her bowl down. "Pepper and tomato, fresh pepper," she called, her voice tired. By afternoon, she had sold almost everything, but the money in her hand was still very little. On her way home, she stopped at the small village church. The door was open and she stepped inside. The church was quiet, with a peaceful stillness that made her heart feel lighter. She knelt down slowly. "God," she whispered, "thank you for today. Thank you for keeping my children alive. Please, touch their hearts. Let them remember me. Not for money, but just to hear their voices." Her tears fell, but she quickly wiped them away. "Crying will not solve anything," she murmured. That evening, as the sky turned purple, Mama Rose sat on a small stool outside her house, holding her old button phone. The screen was scratched, and the battery ran out often, but she treated it like gold. It was the only connection she had to the city. She scrolled through her contact list. Daniel, my first son. Sarah, my only daughter. Michael, my last born. Her finger rested on Daniel's name. She took a deep breath and pressed the call button. The phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times. Far away in the city, Daniel looked at his phone vibrating on a glass table. He saw the name, Mum, and sighed. "Not now," he muttered. He pressed reject and continued his meeting with a man in a suit. Back in the village, Mama Rose held the phone to her ear until the call ended. A moment later, a message appeared. "I'm busy, Mum. I'll call you later." Her lips trembled, but she nodded. "He is busy," she whispered. At least he replied. She didn't know he had already forgotten. Inside her dark little room with only a small kerosene lamp burning, Mama Rose lay on her thin mattress. The roof above her creaked softly with the night wind. She stared at the dim phone screen until it faded to black. "Maybe tomorrow," she whispered. "One of them will call." Outside, crickets sang. Inside, a lonely mother held her silent phone and prayed for the children who had moved on. She did not know that in the shining city, her name was slowly becoming a memory. The city was alive with noise, bright lights, and tall buildings that touched the sky. Cars rushed past, people hurried across the streets, music played from shops, and everywhere looked expensive and full of life. It was the complete opposite of the quiet, dusty village where Mama Rose lived. Far away from her struggles, Daniel, her first son, stood inside a shining glass office building. He wore a sharp suit, a gold wristwatch, and expensive shoes that clicked loudly on the tiled floor. Everything about him looked important. Daniel held a tablet in his hand and argued with 2 other businessmen. "No, no, no," he snapped. "If we don't close this deal today, we lose millions. I didn't come to the city to play." His voice was loud, full of confidence, and almost full of pride. Anyone who saw him would never imagine a poor village mother waiting for his call. After the meeting, Daniel stepped outside the building and walked toward his luxury SUV. His phone beeped twice. a reminder that he had ignored 5 missed calls from his mother earlier that week. He looked at the screen, sighed, and swiped them away. "I'll visit her one day, when I'm less busy," he said to himself. But deep in his heart, he had pushed Mama Rose far away, believing her village life didn't fit his new image. On the other side of the city, Sarah, Mama Rose's only daughter, stood in front of a large mirror filled with lights. Her room was decorated with makeup sets, jewelry, colourful clothes, and a camera positioned in front of her face. She was preparing a new video for her online followers. "Hey guys," she said loudly, waving at the camera with a big smile. "Guess what? Today I'm going shopping again. You won't believe the designer bag I'm about to buy." Her voice was sweet, her makeup perfect, her smile bright. But none of it was real. Behind her fake excitement there was fear that her followers would discover her true background. A poor village girl with a struggling mother wasn't the glamorous life she wanted the world to see. Her phone beeped. She glanced at it and frowned. "Mum, good morning, my daughter. Hope you are fine. I miss you." Sarah swallowed. For a moment guilt touched her heart, but she shook it off quickly. "I'll reply later," she told herself. "I can't let my mood spoil before filming." She turned back to the camera, smiling again as if nothing mattered. Meanwhile, in a tall company building, Michael, the last born, sat at his desk behind a computer. He was the quiet one, the one who didn't show off, but even he avoided his mother. His co-worker, Henry, laughed loudly from the next desk. "Michael, you're lucky. Your background is perfect. Rich parents, rich siblings, rich life." Michael froze. He had lied. He told everyone that his family was comfortable so he wouldn't look poor among his colleagues. Yeah, he stammered, forcing a smile, but inside he felt ashamed. During lunch break, Michael sat alone thinking about Mama Rose. He remembered her cooking beans for him when he was a child, remembered how she stayed awake when he had fever, remembered her laughter. He quickly shook his head. "Stop thinking," he whispered. "The village is far. My life is different now." He didn't know that his mother was sick and praying for him at that very moment. That evening, all 3 siblings met at a fancy rooftop restaurant with glass railings and a beautiful city view. Sarah arrived first, wearing a bright red dress. Michael came next, holding a briefcase, and Daniel joined them last, looking stressed. They ordered drinks that cost more than what Mama Rose earned in a week. "So," Sarah said, flipping her hair, "should we visit Mum this month?" Daniel scoffed. "Visit? Do you know how far the village is?" "I'm busy." Michael looked away. "I have a project at work. Maybe next time." Sarah shrugged. "She'll be fine. She always survives." All 3 nodded and changed the topic to clothes, business, parties, and travel. None of them knew that at that exact moment, Mama Rose lay on her thin mattress, coughing and whispering their names. None of them felt the ache of her empty home. None of them imagined that life was already preparing a lesson that would shake all of them soon. Because the truth is simple. You can abandon a mother, but life never forgets. The rainy season arrived without mercy. Dark clouds gathered above the village, covering the sky like a heavy blanket. The wind blew strongly, shaking trees and whipping dust across the roads. Children ran inside their homes, and women rushed to save their firewood from getting wet. Inside her small compound, Mama Rose struggled to cover the broken part of her roof with an old plastic sheet. The sheet was full of holes, but she hoped it would stop the water. A loud thunder cracked across the sky. Mama Rose jumped in fear but kept working. The first drops of rain fell, slow and heavy. Then suddenly the sky opened and rain poured down like a waterfall. The sound on her rusty zinc roof was loud and frightening. "Mama Rose!" a voice shouted. It was her neighbour Mama Nkichi, running through the rain with a small umbrella. "You should come to my house," she cried. "Your roof won't survive this." But Mama Rose shook her head. "No, my sister, I must try to save my things." Inside the house, water had already started dripping through the ceiling. The old mattress where she slept was getting wet. The small bag that held her little savings was soaked. She quickly lifted it above her head. A sharp pain shot through her chest. She gasped and held her breath until it faded. "God, give me strength," she whispered. The wind roared again, lifting one corner of the old roof. A splash of cold rainwater poured directly onto Mama Rose. She closed her eyes as her clothes became soaked. After several minutes, she gave up and sat on a small stool in the only dry corner. The rain continued beating the house as if trying to push it down. Mama Nkechi entered, shaking her head with worry. "This is too much. You can't live like this. Call your children." Mama Rose's eyes softened with sadness. "I have called them. They say they are busy." "Busy?" Mama Nkechi shouted. "A mother is never too busy for her children." Mama Rose smiled weakly. "It's not their fault. They are trying to make a better life." But deep inside her heart, a quiet pain grew like a heavy stone. The rain didn't stop for hours. By nightfall, half the roof had caved in, and cold water filled the corners of the room. Mama Rose lay on her wet mattress, shivering. She coughed, a deep, painful cough that echoed in the dark. Her phone lay beside her. She picked it up with shaking hands. She dialed Daniel. Ring, ring, ring. Far away in the city, Daniel was sitting in a club with loud music and laughing friends. He looked at his vibrating phone and frowned. "Mum again. Why tonight?" He pressed reject. Mama Rose tried Sarah. Sarah saw the call while taking photos for her social media story. She sighed, muttered "not now" and ignored it. Mama Rose's hands trembled as she dialed Michael. Michael was in a meeting with his boss trying to fix a mistake he did not make. He silenced the phone immediately. 3 children, 3 ignored calls. Rainwater dripped on Mama Rose's face, mixing with her tears. She wrapped her arms around herself, fighting the cold. Maybe tomorrow," she whispered. The next morning, the entire village came out to see the damage the storm had caused. Trees had fallen, farms were flooded, and many roofs had been blown away. Mama Rose's house looked worse than most. Half of the roof was gone. The walls were cracked. Her mattress was completely soaked. Mama Nkechi rushed to help her clean up. As they worked, she looked at Mama Rose with anger and pity. "I will call your children myself today," she said firmly. "They must know." Mama Rose tried to protest, but she was too weak to speak. Later that afternoon, Mama Nkechi used her own phone to call Sarah since she knew Sarah would likely pick up an unknown number. It rang once, twice. Then, "Hello?" Sarah answered sharply. "Mama Rose is not well," Mama Nkechi said quickly. "Her roof is gone. She is sick. You and your brothers must come." There was silence, long and heavy. Finally, Sarah said, "Okay, I'll tell them," and ended the call. But she did not. She looked at her reflection in the mirror, adjusting her makeup, and whispered, "I can't deal with this right now." Meanwhile, in the village, Mama Rose's cough grew worse, and her strength faded like a candle burning low. A storm had passed, but a bigger one was coming for the children who had forgotten their mother. The city was bright, noisy, and busy as always, but for Daniel, Sarah, and Michael, something strange began to happen. Life, which had been smooth and shining, slowly started to crack, like a mirror under pressure. Daniel sat behind his office desk, tapping his fingers loudly. He had been waiting for a call from an important foreign investor. This deal was supposed to bring him millions and make his company grow faster. His phone finally rang. Daniel grabbed it quickly. "Hello?" "Yes, Mr. Williams, I'm ready for the final confirmation." But the voice on the other side was cold. "I'm sorry, Daniel, we are pulling out." Daniel stood up in shock. "Pulling out? Why? We agreed already." The man replied, "We heard something negative about your company. Some clients complained. We don't want to take the risk." Then the line went dead. Daniel froze. For the first time in years, fear wrapped around his heart. That deal was everything. Without it, he would lose a lot of money. He sat down slowly, holding his forehead. "What is happening to me?" he whispered. But in that moment, far away in a small village, Mama Rose lay weak on her bed, coughing and whispering his name. Across town, Sarah was filming a new video in a designer shop. She wore a fancy dress and held a luxury bag. "Hey guys, guess what? I'm getting this bag today," she said to the camera, smiling brightly. But her smile froze when a group of young women walked in behind her. One of them pointed at Sarah and said loudly, "Is that not the girl who lied online about her background?" I saw a post saying, "She's from a poor village." The others laughed. Sarah's heart dropped. She quickly ended the recording and walked out of the shop, her hands shaking. Outside, she opened her phone, and her worst fear came true. Hundreds of comments flooded her page. "Fake life. Liar. Why pretend you're rich? Where is your mother? Go and take care of her first." Sarah's chest tightened. Her throat felt dry. For the first time, she wished she could talk to Mama Rose, but pride forced her to put the phone back in her bag. She wiped her tears, trying not to cry in public. "Why is everything going wrong today?" she whispered. But far from the city lights, Mama Rose's fever grew stronger, her body growing weaker. In a tall, silent office building, Michael typed nervously on his computer. His boss, Mr. Adams, stood behind him with a hard expression. "Michael, where is the report?" Mr. Adams asked. "I sent it yesterday," Michael replied softly. "You sent it late," Mr. Adams snapped. "And now the client is angry. Do you want this company to fail?" Michael swallowed hard. "Sir, I'm sorry, but the problem came from—" "I don't want excuses," the boss shouted. "One more mistake and you're out." Michael sat still, his hands shaking. He had tried so hard to hide his poor background, to look perfect, to prove himself. But everything seemed to be falling apart. His phone vibrated with a message. He opened it and saw the text from Sarah. "Call me, it's about Mum." Michael felt his stomach turn. He knew this message was serious. He immediately left the office and stood outside, breathing hard. He dialed Sarah's number. "What happened?" he asked. Sarah's voice was shaky. "Michael, something is wrong. A woman from the village called me. She said Mum is sick, very sick, and her roof is gone." Michael closed his eyes. Guilt stabbed his heart. After a moment, he asked quietly, "Do Daniel and you plan to go?" There was a long silence. Then Sarah replied, "I don't know. Daniel is busy, and I have my problems." Michael leaned against the wall, feeling dizzy. Everything inside him screamed, "Go home. Your mother needs you. She might die." But fear of facing his past, fear of the village, fear of the truth, kept him frozen. That night, lightning flashed across the sky. Rain hit the city roads, and inside her weak house, Mama Rose lay curled up under a thin blanket, whispering her children's names. Daniel, Sarah, Michael. Her voice trembled in the darkness. Meanwhile, her children sat in the comfort of their luxurious city lives, not knowing that this storm was just the beginning. Life was preparing a lesson, a painful one, and soon none of them would be able to run from it. Slowly in the village, the rain had stopped, but the ground was muddy and the air smelled of wet earth. Mama Rose lay weakly on her bed, coughing, struggling to breathe. Her small window let in a cold breeze that made her body shake. She tried to sit up, but her strength was gone. "God help me," she whispered, holding her chest. Meanwhile, a young man named Cheek, Mama Nkechi's son, arrived from the city. He had returned to visit his mother after finishing some small jobs in town. As soon as he saw Mama Rose's broken roof and heard her weak cough, he shook his head in shock. "Mama Nkechi," he said, "this woman needs help. Her children must come." Mama Nkechi sighed deeply. "I have called them, Cheek, but they don't want to hear." Cheek frowned. "How can children forget the person who carried them for 9 months? His mother wiped her eyes. "Some people change when they see city lights." Later that day, Cheek packed his small bag. "I'm going back to the city tomorrow," he told his mother. "If they won't come for her, I will go and tell them myself." Mama and Kichi nodded slowly. "Go, my son. Maybe they will listen to you." That night, Mama Rose struggled to sleep. She whispered her children's names again, tears rolling down her face. "Daniel, Sarah, Michael, I miss you." Her breath grew shallow. She held her thin blanket tightly, praying for strength. The next morning, Cheeky boarded a bus heading to the city. The journey was long and dusty, but his heart was determined. He kept thinking, how can people with everything forget the woman who has nothing? Hours later, the bus entered the city. Chica felt small compared to the tall buildings, loud horns and huge crowds, but he refused to be intimidated. He began asking around, looking for the office where Michael worked. He believed Michael might be the easiest to reach. Finally, after a long search, he found the tool company building. Cheek walked in shyly, holding his cap in his hands. "Good afternoon," he told the receptionist. "Please, I'm looking for Michael." Michael rose. The receptionist raised an eyebrow. "Do you have an appointment?" Cheek shook his head. "No, but it's important. It's about his mother." Something in his voice made the receptionist pause. She called Michael immediately. Michael came downstairs looking tired and confused. When he saw Cheek, he frowned. "Do I know you?" he asked. "No," Chica replied softly, "but I know your mother." Michael's eyes widened. "Who are you?" he asked again, this time more afraid. Cheek took a deep breath. "My name is Cheek. I'm from your mother's village. She is very sick. The roof of her house is gone. She coughs all night. She can barely stand." Michael stepped back as if someone had hit him. No, she's fine. She always says she's fine." Cheek shook his head sadly. "She says that so you won't worry. But the truth is different." Michael's hands trembled, his eyes filled with tears, but he blinked them away quickly, ashamed to cry in public. "Why didn't anyone tell me sooner?" he whispered. Cheek looked at him with gentle eyes. "You didn't call. You didn't visit. People cannot force someone to care." Those words cut deep. Michael felt his chest tighten. He whispered, I didn't know." Chike placed a hand on his shoulder. "If you don't go now, you might never see her again." Michael swallowed hard. He nodded slowly. "I'll talk to my brother and sister." That evening, the siblings met in Daniel's apartment. Michael told them everything Chica had said. Daniel shook his head angrily. "Village people always exaggerate. She's fine." Sarah crossed her arms. "Maybe she is sick, but I have a brand deal tomorrow. I can't travel now." Michael looked at them in disbelief. "Are you hearing yourselves? Our mother may die." Daniel stood up. "Look, I'm losing money already. I don't have time for—" "Stop!" Michael shouted, surprising them both. "For once, think with your heart, not your pride." The room fell silent. Sarah looked away, blinking back tears. Daniel clenched his jaw, confused and stubborn. But deep inside each of them, guilt began to burn. The truth had reached them. Now they had to decide. Michael could not sleep that night. He kept hearing Cheek's words in his head. "If you don't go now, you might never see her again." He sat on the edge of his bed, staring at his phone, the guilt pressed down on him like a heavy stone. Memories of Mama Rose flooded his mind, her laughter, her prayers, her sacrifices. Meanwhile, Daniel was in his luxury apartment pacing back and forth. He tried focusing on business calls, but nothing made sense. A part of him wanted to ignore Michael's warning, but a deeper part, the part he had buried long ago, felt a quiet fear. Sarah sat in front of her vanity mirror, touching her makeup with trembling fingers. For the first time, her reflection didn't look beautiful. It looked empty. Lost. She whispered to herself, "What if Mum is really sick? What if—" Her voice broke. The next afternoon, the three siblings gathered again in Daniel's apartment. Tension filled the room like thick smoke. Daniel crossed his arms. "Before we make any decisions, we need proof. People lie about sickness to get money. Michael's eyes widened. You think Chaik came here to scam us? He doesn't even know us. Sarah sat quietly staring at her lap. Maybe we should call someone else in the village, she said softly. Michael nodded quickly. Yes, let's call Mama Nkechi. She knows everything. For once, Daniel didn't argue. Sarah dialed the number. After 2 rings, Mama Nkechi answered. Hello? Who is this? It's Sarah, Mama Rose's daughter. A long silence followed. Then Mama Nkechi sighed deeply. My daughter. Thank God you called. Your mother is not fine. She is very weak. She hardly eats. She coughs all night. Her house is almost falling apart. Sarah's hand began to shake. Is it serious? It is serious, Mama Nkechi replied. Very serious. I don't know how long she can stay this way. Michael's eyes filled with tears as he listened. Daniel stood frozen, breathing hard. Can we talk to her? Michael asked. I'm afraid she is sleeping. Her body is too weak, Mama Nkechi answered. But please, children, come home. She needs you. When the call ended, silence filled the room again. Heavy, painful silence. Finally, Michael spoke. I'm going. I don't care about work. I don't care about anything. I'm going tomorrow morning. Sarah wiped her eyes. I'll go too. They both turned to Daniel. He took a shaky breath and looked away. I have an important meeting tomorrow. If I leave now, my business may collapse. Michael stepped closer and stared him straight in the eyes. Our mother may collapse. Those words hit Daniel harder than anything else. His chest tightened. His throat burned. He suddenly remembered something he tried to forget. The night Mama Rose stayed awake, fanning him when he had fever, refusing to sleep until he recovered. A mother's love. And what had he given her in return? Pride, silence, abandonment. Daniel swallowed hard. Fine, I'll come. But even as they decided to go, trouble continued to follow them. That same evening, Daniel received a call from his business partner. We lost the second deal, the man said sharply. Your company is falling, Daniel. Something is wrong. Sarah also got another wave of hateful comments online, attacking her for pretending to be perfect. And Michael received a warning email from his boss saying he might be suspended. Life was closing in on them from every direction. Everything they built, wealth, fame, image, was shaking. They didn't understand it yet, but life was forcing them to return to the woman they had forgotten. Before sleeping, Michael sent a message to Mama Nkechi. We are coming tomorrow. Please take care of Mum tonight. Mama Nkechi replied, I will. God bless you, my children. Come quickly. In the village, Mama Rose lay on her bed, breathing weakly, whispering her children's names in her sleep. And far away in the city, 3 hearts beat with fear, guilt, and unknown truth. The journey back home had not started, but their lives were already changing. The next morning was quiet in the city, but inside Daniel's apartment, the atmosphere was tense. Suitcases lay open on the floor. Clothes were scattered everywhere. For the first time in many years, all 3 siblings were preparing to travel back to the village, not for a celebration, not for a visit, but because they finally feared the truth. Mama Rose might not survive. Michael zipped his small bag quickly. His hands shook the entire time, his heart beat fast, and his mind kept repeating one sentence. What if we're too late? Sarah moved slowly around the room, picking clothes without really seeing them. She kept wiping her eyes even though she tried to hide it. She wasn't used to crying. Daniel stood by the window staring at the busy city outside. Cars rushed past below. People moved in every direction, but he felt alone, as if the whole world had paused. He whispered, Mum, please be okay. By noon, they left the city in Daniel's SUV. The road stretched out before them, long and dusty. The farther they drove, the less tall buildings they saw. The air changed. The noise became quieter. Slowly, the city disappeared behind them. For the first hour, nobody spoke. Guilt filled the car like a heavy shadow. Finally, Michael broke the silence. "Do any of you remember the last time we visited?" Daniel kept his eyes on the road. "I was busy with work." Sarah whispered, "It's been almost 3 years." Michael swallowed hard. "We should be ashamed." Daniel clenched the steering wheel. "Don't start." "I must start," Michael snapped. "We abandoned her. All she wanted was a call, a visit, a little help." Sarah covered her face. "Please stop. I know. I know we failed." The car fell silent again, but this time the silence was full of truth. Hours later, they reached the edge of the village. Small houses appeared, farms stretched across the land, and children ran barefoot on the road. The siblings stared through the windows in shock. Everything looked smaller than they remembered. Everything looked poorer. Daniel whispered, "Did Mum live like this all these years?" Sarah wiped her tears. "And we were in the city, posting pictures and partying." As they drove deeper into the village, people began to whisper and point. "That's Daniel, Mama Rose's son. I heard they never visited her. God will judge them. Better late than never." Their hearts shrank with shame. When they finally reached Mama Rose's compound, their breath caught in their throats. The house looked worse than they imagined. Half the roof was gone. The walls were cracked. The door hung loosely. The floor outside was muddy from the storm. Sarah stepped out first and covered her mouth with her hands. "Oh my God!" Michael felt tears rise instantly. He remembered playing outside this same house as a child, but now it looked like it belonged to a stranger. Daniel walked forward slowly, each step heavy. He touched the broken wall gently. "How did we let this happen?" he whispered. Mama Nkechi rushed out of her house when she saw them. "My children," she cried. "You came. Thank God." "How is she?" Michael asked immediately. Mama Nkechi's face fell. "She is very weak. She only wakes for a few minutes at a time." Sarah's legs almost gave out. Daniel grabbed her arm to support her. "Can we see her?" he whispered. Mama Nkechi nodded and led them inside. The room was dim and cold. A small candle burned in the corner. The air smelled of medicine and dampness. And there on the bed, thin, pale, and shaking slightly, lay Mama Rose. Her eyes were closed. Her breathing was slow. Daniel fell to his knees. "Mum, it's me, Daniel. I'm here." Sarah knelt beside him, crying softly. "Mum, please wake up. It's Sarah." Michael touched her hand gently. "Mama, please." After a long moment, Mama Rose's eyes fluttered open. Slowly, very slowly, she turned her head and saw them. A weak smile appeared on her lips. "My children, you came," she whispered, her voice barely a whisper. Daniel burst into tears. "Mum, I'm sorry," he cried. "I'm so sorry." Sarah held her mother's hand tightly. "Please forgive us." Michael bowed his head. "We should have come sooner." Mama Rose lifted her shaky hand and touched their faces. "I never stopped loving you," she whispered. "A mother's heart never closes." Her words broke them completely. The guilt, the regret, the love, they all flooded the small room. At that moment, the siblings understood something deep. They had abandoned their mother, but their mother never abandoned them. Life had given them a wake-up call, a painful reminder, a final chance. What they chose to do next would change everything. The small room was quiet except for Mama Rose's weak breathing. Daniel, Sarah, and Michael stayed by her bedside, holding her hands as if afraid she might disappear if they let go. Outside, the evening sun cast a soft orange light over the village. Birds returned to their nests, and children laughed in the distance. But inside Mama Rose's house, the siblings felt nothing but fear and regret. Daniel wiped his mother's forehead gently. "Mum, we're here now. We're not leaving again." Mama Rose tried to smile, but her lips trembled. Her voice was faint. "My children, don't cry. I'm happy. You came." Sarah leaned forward and kissed her cheek. Tears ran freely down her face. "Mama, please forgive us. We forgot you. We left you alone. We were foolish." Mama Rose touched her hand softly. "I forgave you long ago. A mother's heart forgives before the children even ask." Michael covered his face and cried. "I lied to people about you. I was ashamed of the village. I hurt you without knowing." Mama Rose whispered. "My last-born. You were always gentle. I know your heart." Daniel held her other hand tightly. "Mum, I was proud. I cared more about money than you. I should have been there." Mama Rose breathed slowly. "Life teaches all of us, in different ways. Wealth without love is empty." Her words sank deeply into their hearts. An hour later, Mama Nkichi arrived with hot soup. "Let her drink something warm," she said. Sarah helped Mama Rose sit up. She fed her gently spoon by spoon. Mama Rose smiled weakly. "Your hands, still soft like before." Sarah burst into tears again. "I'll cook for you every day from now on. You will never suffer again." Michael cleaned the room, swept the floor, and threw away the wet mattress. He promised to buy a better one the next morning. Daniel walked out and stared at the broken roof. "We will fix this today," he said firmly. Within minutes, he had gone to the nearby town, bought new zinc sheets, nails, and wood. He hired young boys in the village to help. They all worked together, repairing the roof until nightfall. For the first time in a long time, Daniel used his strength for something meaningful, something for his mother. By the next morning, Mama Rose felt a little stronger. The doctor from the nearest clinic arrived, examined her and said, "She will survive, but she needs rest, medicine, and good food." Daniel paid immediately. Sarah bought new clothes, blankets, and food items. Michael arranged transportation to take Mama Rose to a better hospital in the city. Mama Rose watched them, tears in her eyes. "My children. Why are you doing all this?" Daniel knelt beside her. "Because we failed you. But we won't fail again." Sarah nodded. "You will come and stay with us in the city. Your life will change." Michael added, "We will take care of you the way you took care of us." Mama Rose smiled, her eyes shining like someone who found peace after a long storm. 2 weeks passed. Mama Rose slowly regained her strength. Her cheeks grew fuller. Her laughter returned. Her voice became stronger. The siblings spent every moment with her. They cooked for her, washed her clothes, told her stories of their childhood, and held her hand whenever she coughed. People in the village watched in surprise. "Look at them now," some whispered. "God has touched their hearts." Better late than never. When Mama Rose was strong enough, they brought her to the city. Sarah gave her a beautifully decorated room. Daniel hired a nurse to watch over her daily. Michael visited her every evening after work. Mama Rose sat on the balcony one night, wrapped in a warm shawl. The city lights sparkled below like stars scattered on earth. Her children sat around her, talking softly and laughing. For the first time in years, she felt complete. She closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you, God, my children have returned." The siblings made a promise that night. Never again would they let wealth blind them. Never again would they forget their mother. Never again would Mama Rose feel alone. They finally learned the truth. A mother's love is priceless, and losing her is a pain no money can ever fix.